and they call him Shani Bhagwan, Shani Maharaj. If you see temples on Saturday, everybody is going and lighting a sesame seed oil lamp at the Saturn temple, because they want that whatever karma they have, we let us pay it back. We can never pay back everything, but at least what you can, you are in a fortunate position to be aware that we have to pay back. So paying back to society, paying back to ashram, whatever way you want to do it. So Shani, I want to tell you a mythology of Shani connected to Lord Ganesha. So how Lord Ganesha got the elephant head. So you know the Lord Ganesha is everywhere, we chanted him today as well. And there are many stories about it, but one very interesting story about it is connected to the planets. So when you see ancient mythological paintings, the planets are always up in the sky, in their human form. You see the sun riding 7 horses, moon on a deer, so each planet has its own animal. So when baby Ganesha was born to Shiva and Parvati, all the planetary gods were invited, please come and see our baby. So all the planetary gods came, they saw baby Ganesha, they gave him gifts, they blessed him. When it was time for Saturn, Saturn won't look at the baby. He said, I can't look. And Parvati said, how you are insulting me. You should look at baby Ganesha. It's my baby. Please look at him. And then I can get the correct blessing. He said, because you are asking me, I will look. Because when I look at something, I am very bad at that. So on urging of Parvati, Saturn looked at Ganesha. And Ganesha's head got cut. And therefore then they had to find a new head, and they found an elephant head. Now these stories are all allegorical. They're just a story that what Saturn does really, he cuts off your ego. He cuts off the head. He makes you humble. You see Saturn humiliating some very egoistical, big people. When their time comes, when their ego gets too big, Saturn humiliates. So one of the things with Saturn is that we should not allow our ego to develop. We should always be humble, not say I am the best, I am the greatest. So this story of baby Ganesha is that Lord Ganesha also is honoring all humans by having the elephant head, but also representing that the ego is something that can get cut off through the energy of Saturn. So after Saturn, we move on to the 2 last planets that are very key, not just of understanding, but also of our understanding of this month. If you could just close this door, all the water is pouring down. So they are called Rahu and Ketu. And Rahu and Ketu are shadow planets. They have no substance, they are invisible. The only time they are visible is during an eclipse. According to the mythology, Rahu is born to the same father as the sun god. When sun represents light and Rahu represents shadow. Rahu has no substance at all. His disk is the same size as the sun, but he is black. And sun is shiny. So twice a year, Rahu comes in front of the sun. He eats up the sun and he takes him away. And just for a little while, but Rahu doesn't have the power to eclipse the sun all the time. So this month, March 2015, we have a solar eclipse. It is not visible in India or in USA, but it is visible in northern parts of Europe. So Europe, Russia, those are the areas that are most disturbed by the eclipse. So these eclipses, Rahu, Ketu, they represent past life and future. Ketu and Rahu, Rishikesh and Haridwar, the land we are in, there is a good story of churning of the ocean of the milk. And during the churning of the ocean of the milk, the gods and the demons were pulling either side, because what had happened, let's just go back a bit, that there was a time when the moon had got cursed, so he had got hidden in the waters. So there was no light at night, and everybody was misbehaving. And then Jupiter advised the gods that you have to become friends with the demons and churn the ocean of milk. And then only we can find Amrita, the nectar of immortality. So in this churning of the ocean, a mountain was used as the rod, the snake Vasuki was used as the rope, and the gods were pulling one side and the demons were pulling the other side. So as this churning took place, finally when the Amrita was found, the gods realized that if we give the nectar of immortality to the demons, they will become eternal. So they did not want to give the nectar of immortality, so they were running and the demons were chasing them around the world. And this happened for 12 long years. And in certain spots in India, the nectar fell. And one of the spots is right here in Haridwar. The nectar fell, and once every 12 years they have the Kumbh Mela. Kumbh means the pot. And so finally, Lord Vishnu found a solution for it, and he took the form of Mohini. Again, there is Mohini with the avatars of Lord Vishnu in the ashram. You can go and see it. And they had a big dance party, and out of that party, one of the demons, Rahu, he drank a little bit Amrita, so he became immortal. But Vishnu saw him doing it, so he cut Rahu into two. So the head part of the demon became Rahu, and the body part became Ketu. So we have these two demons who are gods, because they've had Amrita, they're demigods, and they became 2 points of karma in our life. They are the 2 points of struggle. They are like a plus minus. They are always in opposite sides of the zodiac. So at present, Rahu is in Pisces, Rahu is in Virgo, and Ketu is in Pisces. That is the area where the eclipses take place. So there's an eclipse now when the sun is in Pisces, and there will be an eclipse when the sun is in Virgo. So this happens every 9 years or so, the eclipses come by. So they show the struggle of the human being to reconcile their past life. Ketu, which is headless, represents our past karma, the shadowy burden that we carry within our psyche. This is a karma that as the moment we were born and cut off from the umbilical cord, we forget. So it remains in our psyche, 9/10 of our brain, which is subconscious, unconscious. Our karma remains there. And Rahu represents our fear for the future. So what is very interesting about these two shadows, they totally work on a psychological level. One represents our past and one is our fear for the future. You see, we don't live in the present. If you are doing the asana, the Virasana, you're always going the wrong way. You're not standing straight. To be totally steady in today is the most difficult thing for humans to do. We are always thinking about the past, about this is what happened to us, this is why we are here. That is how Ketu is responsible. And Ketu is headless, so he has no ability to think. He is intuitive. Rahu is only the head, so he is a thinking thing. Wherever Rahu is there, we want to consume it. We want more and more and more. So Rahu eats it, but he can't digest it because he's there and Ketu is here. So you keep on experiencing, whether it's education, whether it's yoga, whether it's spirituality, whether it's money, whatever your particular love for But Rahu fears for the future. All your fears of the future are vested in Rahu, and all your anxieties about the past, about what happened, bad relationships, people who've done something, that remains in Ketu's cycle. But Ketu has another very important role to play that gets for spiritual aspirants. He is the Jnana Karaka. Jnana or Jnana, Jnana Karaka. He is the dispositor of knowledge. Because think positively about your past lives. You have been trying to work out, studying many lifetimes. It's not just the first lifetime that you are here. It's not straight on you come and you get blessed to be in Rishikesh. You've been working through many lifetimes. So you have this huge wisdom that is within you. What you need to do is you have to remember it's headless. So you have to somehow open it. So they say that you get the blessing of the Guru and that knowledge will take them to you.